I'm gonna show you an awesome little hack where this paperclip and this hammer can catch you the biggest fish in the school. That is an awesome, awesome little hack right there. And slide your bobber stop down right nice and tight. It is hot, 95 degrees today. But believe it or not, fall is coming. It happens this time of year, just about every year. All across this country, we're looking at that transition from summer to fall. The nights are starting to get cooler, the water temperatures are dropping, and most importantly, those bass are making the switch to their fall patterns. Things start getting faster, things start getting more aggressive, and the bite gets hot. School is in session. School is in. That's right, folks. It's Captain Mikey on behalf of KastKing. I got a few tricks up my sleeve. They're going to help show you how to not only catch more fish this fall, but how to catch the biggest fish in the school. Woo! You're going to love this. That's right, folks. It's fall transition time, and out there, school is in session. And this can be my favorite time of year to fish. More aggressive, more speed, more action. And I got a couple tricks up my sleeve you may have never seen before. That's not only going to help you catch more fish, it's going to help you catch the biggest fish in the school. Schooling bass doesn't have to mean small bass. Who said schoolies have to be small? There's always the head of the class, the alpha dog. And with these tricks, I'm going to show you how to target and catch the biggest fish in the school. Guaranteed. That's right, guys. Welcome to fall. Autumn, fall, it is one of my all-time favorite times to target largemouth bass. Those largemouth bass are going to start moving from their summer hunting grounds over into their fall hunting grounds. Things are going to be moving a lot faster, a lot more commotion, and they're going to start reacting to those fast action reaction baits now. And I love that. No more slowing down, no more finesse. It's time to actually start speeding up. School is in session. The bait fish are schooling up, they're getting more active, and the bass are following suit. They're chasing those fast moving bait fish now. They're going to get them in balls in deep water. In really shallow water, they're going to corral them right up against cover. As the bait fish starts to school up, so will the bass. And those big bass are no different than the small bass. They're looking to capitalize on those active moving balls of bait fish. But I'm going to show you a couple awesome little tricks that you may have never heard of before. I'm going to show you an awesome little hack where this paperclip and this hammer can catch you the biggest fish in the school. When you see those schools of baitfish being busted on by tons and tons of bass, one of the first things you're going to want to do is target the middle of that school. It's a reaction. You want to throw a topwater in there, you want to throw a jerkbait in there, whatever it is. Generally, the fish that you're seeing busting all over the surface are the smaller, more aggressive bass. The big bass are still there too, but they're not quite as aggressive. They learn. They don't need to get so excited. The bigger bass, they're probably going to be sitting down below or just off to the side, waiting for that school of bait fish to want to escape those small, aggressive, fast little bass and start to dive. And that's where the big jaws are waiting to bite. The way to really grab those aggressive bass, and nobody can beat a topwater. Some kind of walking the dog bait of some sort, like a Zara Spook, or a Spook Junior in this case out here. If you put this right through the middle of that entire pack, you're gonna have all sorts of those small schoolies smashing all over this bait. Wouldn't it be nice if you had something that kind of deterred those but attracted the bigger bass? How do you attract the bigger bass in the school? When you're targeting the topwater, I got a fantastic little trick that'll attract the biggest bass in there. You gotta get a little creative and think outside of the box. One of my favorite fall baits to throw for topwater is a Zara Spook. The head and Zara Spook. Amazing walk the dog action. You can move it fast. It's got a loud knock to it, a loud rattle to it. It's gonna attract just about every single little bass there. Well, they also make a smaller one. Zara Pooch. It's a tiny little bait, as you can see, exactly the same, but just a much, much smaller size. I take these small Zara spooks, remove the back hook, and tie about a foot of line onto that. And that goes to your main spook. This is a killer combination out there. There's enough line in there so your main lure still has all the action that it needs to have. Your little spook with the one little hook on it chugging along in the front of it. It looks like a bigger fish chasing a small fish through a pack. Bass are natural predators, and they get excited when other predators are around. They want to be the top of the food chain. The biggest bass in the school wants to be the top of his class every time. When he sees a predator chasing a smaller predator, he's gonna go for that big one almost every single time. Run this on the outside of that school. This little guy chugging along top will get the attention of those little guys bringing him over, but this loud rattle of the big walk the dog chasing behind the small one is bound to get the attention of the biggest bass that's around in that area, and he's going to crush it. It really looks like a predator chasing down a small piece of prey, and that is going to get the biggest predator to want to kill it. Be the alpha dog, be the top dog, be head of the class. An amazing little trick right there, guys. Any style of walk the dog bait as your main lure works very well. Sometimes you gotta play around with the length of the line between the two. Anything over 2 feet is a little bit too much whip, a little bit too much slack. Anything less than 8 inches, just not enough, and they more just kind of slide along over there. But play with it, play with whatever you lure. The main thing is find the smallest version that you can in the front. Another bait that works amazing on that is right there. The Heddon torpedo, but this is the tiny torpedo, the little tiny one. It kind of just chugs along the front. So having one like this, it's gonna have that little prop on there. That's gonna drive all the bass wild. The chances of you doubling up is gonna be phenomenal. You get a fish on the main line, this little guy's still going, you're bound to get nailed on the smaller one too. Ha! That is an awesome, awesome little hack right there. When they've really corralled those schooling fish up into the cover, they got them pinned there, and the little guys are picking away like crazy. The bigger ones are gonna be sitting around the outside of it. That's a great way to target them with topwater. It works equally as well out in the open in deeper water, but in deeper water the biggest fish will more likely be down deep. So a great way to target those with the same technique, but use it with jerkbaits. A tiny little jerkbait. This little jerkbait is only 1.5 inches long. It only dives about 1/2 foot to 1 foot deep. Tie that on as your lead jerkbait, and a good 1 to 1.5 feet behind, tie on a little bigger jerkbait. It's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna follow behind, and as you give the jerks, they almost tend to go opposite of each other, but it really, really gives that impression deeper of a large predator chasing down a small predator. Let those little bass get aggressive up top of here. Drive these two down to where the biggest bass are, and I promise you, out in open water, this can be an absolutely deadly combo that's gonna catch you the biggest bass in the school. That's an awesome trick. Now you do gotta be careful. Mind where you're at and what the laws are where you're at. How many hooks you're allowed to fish. Really check into your guidelines, but you wanna make sure you're not breaking any rules. If you're throwing 2 lures, that could be 2 hooks. So check where you're from to make sure you're allowed to be fishing with 2 hooks. And finally, one of my all-time favorite fall transition baits, when you're talking about working schooling bait fish and schooling bass, it's gotta be a paddle tail swim bait. Paddle tail swim baits are such a versatile bait. There's got to be 100 different ways you can rig and throw a paddle tail swim bait. They come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, but of course they mimic a bait fish almost perfectly. Depending on how you rig it, you can fire it through the middle of that school of bait. You can let it sink down below, run it below. You can run it all along the sides. You can even burn them across the top of the surface. But of course, I've got an amazing little trick for these too. I always carry in the fall, I carry a little kit like this. And in this kit, I've got things like bobber stops, extra blades of all different sizes, willow blades, I got small Colorado blades, snap swivels, a whole bunch of split rings, quick connect snaps to be able to quickly connect things, and of course, a bunch of extra little screw keepers, just like that. But I keep one thing in this little box that most people would never even think of. It's such a common thing, we all got them, and they're super cheap. They're as cheap as they come. Paper clips. That's right, paper clips right there. Let me show you an amazing trick that you can use paper clips to completely transform one lure into a whole variety of other lures. There's a whole bunch of pre-made stuff on the market that you can do when you're talking about buying blades. They have blades already on little screw keepers like that. You get like a 2-pack for like $4, 3-pack for $5. It's not all that inexpensive. They've got little blades that are already connected to arms that you can clip right onto the hook screw keeper, so you can insert it just about anywhere into the soft plastic that you want. I've got issues with all these, and my little paper clip actually will outshine these any which way. I can do any of those with a paper clip and not have to spend that kind of money. Buy yourself some extra blades in a whole bunch of different sizes. They're fairly cheap, fairly inexpensive. You can't find extra ones at your store or anything, and you don't feel like ordering online. Here's another quick little tip. You got a Walmart around you need some extra blades? Every Walmart carries them for $1 spinnerbait. That spinnerbait has already got 2 blades and a swivel. Everything you need there. If you're really in a pinch and you need to do this quickly, go ahead, just stop by Walmart for $5 and you got 10 blades and 5 swivels already. Let me show you the real trick here using paper clips to alter my paddle tail soft plastics. Check this out. This is how I make these forms at home before I go out. All you need is a block of wood, a hammer, some kind of cutting pliers, and 2 different size nails. One larger nail and one smaller nail, like that. Take your small nail, get it started. Next step, take your cutting pliers and you're gonna want to cut the head of that nail right off. Take your large nail and you're gonna want to set that right next to the other one, leaving just enough space between the two to be able to slide that small paper clip in between. 2 nails right side beside each other, with a little gap just big enough to slide your paper clip in. Taking one paper clip here, slide it between the 2 nails, and you can wrap it right around, nice and tight, around those nails, forming a little loop that you can now attach your blades to. Imagine you can bend that any which way in any direction and make any form you want out of a paper clip. 100 paper clips for 78 cents at Walmart. That's all it is. It's stout enough wire that it'll hold up to just about anything you're doing, but it's pliable enough that you can easily make these forms just with a pair of pliers. To bend the loops around the pliers, so now you got a hole to be able to hold on whatever blade or whatever system you want to put on there. What kind of form you want to put, however many blades or whatever you want, that's entirely up to you. Essentially, you're making little spinnerbait arms out of paper clips. You want to make sure you got a circle opening at this end, your line slides through that one, then the arm sticks out and comes down. On this one I put a little snap swivel with a little blade. So it's going to stick out from the top of my lure alongside of it to be able to swivel, rotate around it, adding the extra little flash, really making that lure stand out from all the rest of the bait. Make sure you tie on a bobber stop and slide that up your line a bit. Slip on your paper clip wire form with your blade already attached to it. Then put on a bullet nose sinker. Tie on your extra wide gap hook, whatever size it is, adjusting to whatever bait you're gonna use. Let it all slide down into place and slide your bobber stop down right nice and tight. Take whatever paddle tail and swim bait you're gonna do and you're just gonna simply Texas rig it like you normally would. And there you go. You now got a soft plastic paddle tail swim bait with an extra little blade on its own independent arm. You're not going to lose this. Unlike a lot of the blades that you would screw into the body any which way, or even have it on the hook, when you lose the soft plastic, you lose the blade, you lose the whole rig altogether. This is going to stay in place because it's actually on your line the whole time, held in place by the bobber stop and in front of your weight. It can actually spin and rotate all the way around that bait as well. Either which way, it's going to add a whole lot of extra flash and really make your bait stand out from the rest of the pack, more than likely attracting the biggest fish in that entire school. All because of an extra blade and a paper clip. That is awesome. I always carry a bunch of extra paper clips in case I really want to change it all up. Why not make it with 2 blades? Put your little hole right in the middle where your line slides through. It'll sit on top of your bait, and now you've got 2 blades on either side. It's up to you how you want to form it. Just take some paper clips and you can make any form, any shape. Paper clips are like 75 cents for 100 of them. Get yourself some extra blades, get a few different components, and make your own extra little rigs to put on top of any paddle tail swim bait or any soft plastic that you're going to use to target those fast moving schooling bait fish this fall. So there you have it, some amazing tips and tricks that'll hopefully help you out this fall to not only catch more fish, but to catch the biggest fish in the school. Folks, I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned a little something. And if you did like this, of course, subscribe to the channel and click the little bell down there to get notified next time KastKing uploads another great video to help you catch bigger and better fish next time you're on the water. One last time, guys, from beautiful North Florida, it's Captain Mikey on behalf of KastKing signing out. The future is bright. You keep those lines tight.